Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today we're doing the last in the KWA upgrade series, and today we're doing Merf versus Titan. So I just want to make a note on safety. Whether I'm disassembling, unboxing, chronoing, whatever it is I'm doing, I always make sure I'm in a completely safe environment. So that means most of my videos I'm always wearing eye protection just to make sure that my eyesight stays safe. Before I do that, I always make sure that there's no ammunition in any of the mags or in the gun itself. I make sure that the mags are unloaded and unwound to make sure that nothing can happen with that. Obviously, if I'm chronoing, then I've absolutely definitely got my eye protection on to protect myself. I even make sure that my batteries are removed and out of the way so that I know I'm in the safe environment. I also make sure that there's nobody else around as well either, so I'm always in a safest possible environment. If you are working with airsoft stuff, please make sure you do the same. Hi guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy my content today, please do like and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out. So here we've got the final video where we're looking at the MOSFET comparison between equal, I suppose, TK45s. We'll talk about that in a second. And we've got my own personal TK45 here that has got a Gate Titan installed in it and an SHS high torque motor. And then we've got the back here, the Benji's TK45 that's got a Merf in it, a Gate Merf in it, which I've wired in. There's a little Merf itself. So I've had these through my chrono for rate of fire checks and things like that, and to do all sorts of comparisons. So to keep this as fair as absolute possible, what I have done is I've used the standard batteries that I use for rate of fire checks with an adapter, because both of these, the Titan and the Merf, are wired to DIN. So I've got an adapter and I've used the standard batteries and made sure that they're fully charged, so you know you're getting a nice consistent check. The only thing here that makes it slightly skewed, and I mean obviously slightly, is this has been downgraded. So this is UK legal. This one still is the stock standard spring that it is in it. They've both got identical Prometheus purple air seal hot rubbers in, and the Benji's has had the O-ring replaced. So those are the only differences. And now in terms of FPS, we're not looking at FPS in this video. All we're looking at is purely just rate of fire and sort of snappiness of trigger response. So on the standard motor, before I took the SHS out and I put a standard motor in Benji's, and on this, before the Merf got wired in, it was doing 13 rounds per second on a 7.4, and it was doing 21 rounds a second on an 11.1. I then changed the SHS in, obviously again before the Merf, and it went up to 17 rounds per second on a 7.4, which was really a big leap, and it went to 29 rounds a second on an 11.1. So just a motor alone made a big difference. So I then put the standard motor in with the Merf, and the standard motor went up to, with the Merf on a 7.4, went up to 17 rounds per second, and the 11.1 went up to 27 rounds. So we've seen a massive jump using the standard motor. There it is, the standard high torque. I did take the the little circuit that's on there that stops trigger arcing. I took that off because you don't need it if you've got a MOSFET in, because the trigger contacts are there just to tell the MOSFET to kick in. So using that, we went up from 13 before to 17, and then we went from 21 to 27 on 11.1. So you got a really good sharp uptake there in terms of rate of fire. So that's that as it was. I then switched the motors over in this one and put the high torque one in it, the SHS, so they're then effectively the same gun internally. So in a 7.4 with the SHS in it, this was doing 19 rounds per second on a 7.4, just to check my little card. So that went up from 17 to 19, so two rounds extra a second. On an 11.1, it went up to 32 rounds per second, which is up from 27. So you gain like 5 rounds per second there on 11.1, and they are crazy. And I will show you in a second what they're like. Compared to mine that's got the Titan in it, so virtually the same setup. This also does 19 rounds per second on the 7.4 volt. So at the 7.4 0.4 volt mark, there is no difference. They're identical. They're running pretty much the same. Obviously, you may get slight different variations, but that's what I got. And then this one on the 11.1 ran at 35 rounds per second compared to 32 in the Merf. So a slight improvement. That could be just down to the Titan handles it better. It could also be down to the fact that there is a downgrade spring, so it's not quite as difficult to turn the gearbox over, but then I would have expected to see that at the Merf level as well. So they are very, very close. Now the big difference here is the cost. A Merf is, I think to me, about £35–40, so a very, very reasonable price. The Titan is obviously £80–90 up to £100 and something if you get the advanced version. So there's a massive price difference there between the two. Yes, the Merf is a little bit more difficult to install. Well, it just takes a little bit longer to do, soldering new wires in and things like that. And what I've done is I've made sure that there's enough wire that the stock can fully extend. But for £40 to transform this the way that it has done, I think if you haven't got the Titan money, then you know that a Merf or a Warfet or any sort of MOSFET that's of similar ilk will provide you, a good option for a much lower entry point. Obviously, if you are wondering, the reason I've used the Merf is literally because I just had one laying around, effectively waiting for a project. So I just sort of thought, well, if it's laying around, let's do this as a comparison. Let's see if the £90 to £150 I've seen them going for Gate Titan is comparable, worth the money, compared to a £40-ish Gate Merf. And in all honesty, if I'd have known this, I possibly wouldn't have had the Titan. The advantage of the Titan is it offers you significantly more customizability in terms of your safe can be firing mode, your semi can be burst, you've got binary triggers and all that sort of thing. The Merf itself is really, really good if you're just wanting core features. It can do multi-shot burst instead of full auto, which is great, but it's kind of timing based and not optical based, so it's not always exactly reliable. So if you're just wanting purely to up the rate of fire and make it run nicer out of the box, and you're not looking for special features, then I would say the Merf is worth the money. If you're looking for all singing, all dancing, you can make it fire however you want, might even make you toast in the morning, I doubt a cup of coffee though, then the Titan is probably the way to go for that. So before I sign off and finish, what I'm going to do is just give you a quick show to see what they look like connected up. So we'll put the adapter on and we'll go for the Titan with the 7.4 first. So semi, I'll do that again, pretty snappy, full auto, and off it goes. I'll switch that over to the Merf. Do it self-check. There we go. So semi, full auto. There we go. So again, you can't really notice that much difference in there. They do sound different, which guns tend to sound different to each other. I dare say that's possibly down to the spring being a little bit weaker in that one. So what I'll do now is I'll bring in the 11.1 and you can sort of see how crazy they are. So I'll do the Titan first. Semi. Full auto. Oh, that makes me laugh. Massive smile on my face. Clear that down. And then we'll switch that to the Merf. And here we go, semi, full auto, and there we go. So either way, both options are excellent. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. It's picking what's good for you financial wise and feature wise. So I hope this series has been helpful to you. Please do remember to like and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out, and I will see you next time. Bye.